Hey, this is David Richter, and this is the Profit First RIA podcast. You have Matt Kamp on today. If you want to get more deals in your pipeline, please listen to this episode. Matt goes into what he does and what he uses and what he's a part of and how it's helped him get actual deals in the door where he's closing them, selling them. So this is a good episode if you want to get more deals in your pipeline. Hey, welcome back to the Profit First RIA podcast. Matt Kamp, I'm super excited to talk to you because we've done lots of things over the years and talked many times. And, like you're over there at DealMachine doing lots of cool things. And now I want you to talk about, I heard about your Profit First journey, and I want you to be able to share that today. So that's where we're going to be going today if you're listening. But Matt, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, David, appreciate you having me on, man. I always really enjoy doing this with you. I know you come on for our master classes. You've been on a handful of those for sure with our community. So I always appreciate your time and, happy to jump on here too.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's dive right into it. Like, how did you get into the real estate portion? And I guess I also want to know how did you link up at DealMachine too?
Yeah, it's a great story. I mean, we so the guys who started DealMachine, it's funny, we all grew up together. So
Nice.
a lot of those guys, the two co-founders, a few of the early employees and things, all grew up in St. Louis together. So I've known them forever. We've done past we all kind of got into entrepreneurship together in college. We did like student pitch competitions together. We had when we were going through college, the iPhone and mobile was brand new. So it was very much like, oh, hey, here's a whole new world of technology that's coming to a whole new frontier for opportunity for people to figure out like, what are we going to do with this thing? Right. So, we ended up doing quite a few ideas around mobile together and just got into tech together. While that was also happening, I had also grew up reading, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad towards the end of college there. I love listening to Bigger Pockets, towards that time frame as well. I was meeting more and more people in the real estate world and realized like, hey, no matter what I do, this real estate thing I should get into at some point. Like this is amazing for long-term wealth building, right? And so I kind of had both of those interests at the same time. With DealMachine, those guys, they actually had started a couple other businesses before. I linked up with them a couple different times. We did a startup together right after college. They split off eventually and started DealMachine like 2016. Again, they were guys they were my wedding party, like two best friends, and started that and always had heard updates about it. And they got to the point where they're like, yeah, we're doubling down on we've got something here. Like we're solving problems for people. We love what we're doing. And hey, do you want to join us? And so I joined 2020, been here almost 5 years now. And it's been a blast, man. I really love it. So
That's very cool. So tell me about though, how you got into Rich Dad Poor Dad in college or like that. Did you have parents that like did that for you or friends, or did you just pick that up randomly at a bookstore? Like what happened to get to even that interest?
Yeah, the earliest influence I had, my parents were encouraging, like my dad especially was always encouraging of like any interest I had in business and things. I know I actually had, and I've mentioned this before, but I had a football coach in middle school who gave me a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, which, it's a short book, more of like a parable really, but just kind of inspired me just thinking about like, just the financial world and how to think about money, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that was my first nudge into that world.
Gateway.
The gateway to that. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, I think I may have gotten that as a gift. I'd have to look back and see who actually gifted me that. But I know it was a book that had been recommended to me a few times by people as I started to kind of pry into that world a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I read that book, it was like, man, this is, there's something to this. So that was really the first catalyst of my interest in real estate for sure.
So okay. That's awesome. I love that you got involved in real estate. Then you got involved with a company with your buddies at DealMachine there, and you've been there for 5 years. That's incredible. I feel like in this day and age, people just go 6 ways from Sunday every other year, right? So being able to be with someone for a while.
Yeah, I've always loved kind of that startup, world, I guess, of coming on early in the company I joined before DealMachine even. I was an early employee, was on more in the marketing agency world, but I loved that journey as well. We took that from a few people to almost 100, I think is maybe the largest we got. So that was an amazing journey. Made really, really good friends doing that. learned a ton about sales and marketing and how to, growth and partnerships, that world, and then applied that in the DealMachine when David went out there and he basically solved his own problem of, he was going out and driving for dollars, right?
Yeah.
He was wanting to get into real estate, kept hearing this term over and over again, would go to like RIA meetups in Indianapolis and kept hearing this driving for dollars term. So it's been around forever, right? But he just said, hey, let me take my tech background and solve this problem because I'm driving around and it is a headache to try to do this. And so that's where DealMachine version 1 came from. And we've come a long, long way in the past, 9 years. But that's where that initial solution was that he saw for himself. And then, yeah, when they really got traction there, they said, hey, let's reinvest in our own growth. And, that's when I came on board and quite a few others. And it's been a fun journey.
So what have you done at DealMachine over the years then? Like, what's been your role?
Yeah, so I originally, and I still run our partner program, but I originally came on and they said, hey, one of our top growth strategies, period, had been through referrals and teaming up with people that we can really be a helpful resource to an entire community or to their whole, maybe people like educational groups where they can come in and say, yeah, if they've used DealMachine themselves and they've seen how it works, that we can teach their students and help them be successful, right? We did team up with like the bigger pockets of the world and the rich.
Yep.
The one cool thing was we actually teamed up with Rich Dad Poor Dad and did a lot of web
nice.
and just taught their audience about how to get real estate. So that was kind of a cool story to tell on those of
full circle.
Yeah, full circle, exactly. Yeah, for David too. Like he was Rich Dad, and that was a big inspiration for him too. So so I would say came on, still run that, still focus on that. As we've evolved over time, I'm doing more and more around helping companies who want to have access to our data at a larger scale, right? Like basically DealMachine in bulk, really. So we've kind of developed out a solution for them that's more scalable and help people who are coming in and, maybe they are looking to have a large team use DealMachine, or maybe they're looking to, really go all in on, one marketing strategy like calling or email or, whatever the marketing strategy might be. And they need our data at a larger scale. So we built out a DealMachine version that really is just kind of doubling down on our data, making sure our data is the best in the industry and make the product as accessible for those folks as possible too. So I've really kind of tried to be involved in identifying those people, bringing them on board, making sure they're successful, help, work with the product team as well to kind of, relay what would continue to help evolve that product. So it's been a fun evolution where I'd say like sales, partnerships, marketing, anything in that world. I really, really enjoy. So
awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a ton of experience, just over the years through the different things you've been a part of, and then being able to apply it, to the different roles that you've taken on during the course of the business, which is very cool.
Yeah. I'll say I've been really, really lucky on, the teams I've been with as well. Like even the company I was at before, it was called Influence & Co. All my kind of original mentors were there, like really, really loved what I learned through that experience. I was running the partner program there as well. And, had experienced really, really fast growth with that company. That was a very fun experience. And then anything here at DealMachine, so it's, I've feel like I've really tried to align myself with great people and have been, lucky by the people I've been surrounded with as well.
Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about DealMachine. If someone doesn't know what it is, or like, what is driving for dollars? If they know what driving for dollars is, how does DealMachine solve that problem?
Yeah, so it originally was all focused on driving for dollars, like you said there. It's very much David going out there and he had a tech background, but was new to real estate and knew that was where he wanted to go, knew that was a path that he wanted to build his own portfolio. And, now he's got 25, somewhere in that ballpark rentals, so he's built his own portfolio there. But as he was going down that road, he realized, man, just finding a deal to begin with is if you buy right, the rest really, really helps, right? It really sets So it's like, okay, how do we find those properties that we can help you buy right? And, driving for dollars was that initial strategy that he went out and built technology to go solve that, to go make that process way simpler, way easier, way more efficient and effective. Over time, we realized like, yeah, driving for dollars is a piece of the puzzle, but we want to be that go-to platform for real estate data and doing deals and going direct to seller. And so, that's where we've really evolved beyond, we have the driving for dollars piece. We have over 700 filters you can work with now inside DealMachine to be able to use our data, because we've got, nine or 10 major data sources that we're bringing together and making really easy to kind of digest and take action on, right? So you can look at the map and say, hey, show me all the properties in this area that fit these parameters, that have owners that fit this, demographic data, that, fit, this, seller motivation, XYZ. And you can, build that list both, again, either in the field driving for dollars or using our map like that, pulling our data. And then the second piece is, okay, great. What do you do with that information? How do you take action on that? So we've evolved into a marketing platform as well, where you get probably the biggest thing that really changed our perception of what DealMachine is about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, we launched unlimited free skip tracing. So phone numbers, emails, like how to get in touch with the owner came with DealMachine now. And so you pull a list of 10,000 properties, and now I've got phone numbers and emails to reach out to those owners. And previously that would have cost you 10 cents per property, so like $1,000, right?
Yeah.
And now it's free. And so that was a big turning point. We tried to change the industry there, and it's been exciting to shift from like just driving for dollars to like a data company in general too. So
Yeah. And then you can actually, is it true that you could also send mail from the app and like connect with the actual, try as much as you humanly can to get in touch with that seller just right from the app, correct?
yeah, so the marketing side, you've got phone numbers and emails. You have direct mail you can send direct, with one click from DealMachine.
Yeah.
You can design it all in there, track it, everything like that. There's a door knocking feature as well, where you can do a planned route and say, hey, help me drive this list, right? And it'll actually give you turn-by-turn navigation on the mobile app to go up. So, it's okay. How do we help you identify prospects and then reach out to them?
Yeah, no, I love that. Then you've also got a community aspect, right?
Yep.
Where you teach, because I know about this personally because you've had me on to teach there. But I'm just wondering, like, you also teach other topics, and you have that community. Can you talk about the community functionality of DealMachine too?
Yeah, you do. You do a great job, man. We always really, really appreciate when you come on. Again, you've been on a handful of times, and I know our people really shifts how they think about managing their funds, and when they can do a deal, like what do they do with that money, right? And but yeah, I think the community piece, that's something that we realize as well. Like, hey, yeah, the more we don't want to be just seen as this app that you use, and be a piece of technology that you may or may not go out and actually use, right? Like we want to help you be successful with using DealMachine and way beyond that. And we know that if we can make you successful or help you be successful as an investor and help you get out there and build a real business there, that, you're going to stick with us, and that we're really truly providing value and changing your life there. Like that's a win all the way around. Right. And so we've really focused on building a community that we just bring on outside experts like yourself to come on and educate our people. And maybe DealMachine will come up, but it's more about like, hey, here's how you do this in real estate or that, or, we've had all kinds of different topics. We've been doing it for a couple of years now, and it's a great networking opportunity as well. So we host those calls once a week. If you're a DealMachine customer, you get invited to those, and we say, hey, come join us, learn from this person, connect with each other, network, and just give a ton of resources to help you be more successful. So in the end, it's a tool that you have to go out and really leverage yourself. So we're like, hey, we want you to be successful, period, in your real estate business. So.
Awesome. No, I love that, because then it's not just you're providing the solution, you're providing that community, because sometimes it's all that mental garbage that we got flowing through our head that we can't break through. So no, I love that.
Yeah.
Right. So then talk about your journey, because you've started investing in real estate. You've implemented profit first. So like, tell us a little bit about that side of it, getting into the actual day to day.
Yeah. So it's something that I love doing, and I'm lucky that again the DealMachine team, we're very supportive of each other, of like going out and practicing what we preach, right?
Yeah,
being our own customers.
that's awesome.
So it's something that I'll do on the side, a little bit. I've got a partner, Vince Hall, here in St. Louis, who has a very similar role to me over at Ballpoint Marketing and called Porter. If you're familiar with those companies, we've We have a lot of customers that use us and those companies together. If you send a handwritten letter at DealMachine, it's actually a ballpoint letter. So,
Nice.
we'll team up in a variety of ways, but yeah, we do business deals locally as well. We're here in the St. Louis area. It's something that, when I jumped into DealMachine, another added benefit to that of not just, loving the team and the idea and the direction, but it was also, hey, here's a chance for me to really get into real estate too. Like me, you actually take that step that I've been thinking about forever when I read Rich Dad and when I've been listening to podcasts, like, okay, cool. Now I get to do it myself. Right. And so, on our end, we've been doing it for a couple of years together, using DealMachine locally. It's very much going out there. We drive for dollars. We build lists. We send mail is our number one, marketing method, just because, that's the most passive thing when we've got our day jobs, right? And so we'll send mail. We'll have, that'll lead to a receptionist. That's through Call Porter, who will answer the phone and, set up the appointment for us. We'll go walk the property. We'll make offers. We've really focused more on the active income side around sales and flips currently.
Yeah.
We've done, I'd say, on pace, we probably do a deal every month or two. It's
still pretty good. Like, well, you're still doing DealMachine. You got this going on, and you're using what you get to work on the day to day and the DealMachine, and you're getting that from those deals from that source, basically.
Yeah, that's what it's. It's great being a DealMachine expert, right? So
Yeah. Look at the inside.
Networking, networking's amazing within, I'll come on and really try to connect with DealMachine customers that are involved in St. Louis. And I've got mentors around me. So I'm lucky with all of that. So I really have leaned into that. We've again have focused more on those kind of, I'd say like mini flip, shorter flip timelines, some wholesale deals. We'll move into buy and hold here at some point soon, but also definitely excited. And it's been great. Like I've just learned so much just being in the seat of our customer of what's actually valuable to the investor and how to use the technology and where could we improve. And really it just gives a whole new perspective on DealMachine as well. So
yeah, I love that because then you could actually see it from the person that's using its point of view. I did have a question before I go into the profit first side. What on DealMachine are you able to pull a list of buyers? Like, are you able to sell from DealMachine as well too? Because I know it's obviously your network and that type of thing as well. I'm just wondering if you've been able to sell deals through DealMachine.
Yeah. So we do have data there as well for like the dispo side, the other side of the transaction where you can go in. There's a variety of filters. Probably the most common one we do have a cash buyer filter, so you could just like draw around that area and say, show me the cash buyers in this area, right? We do have a owner's house flipper filter. So if you go into DealMachine and search by really the easiest way to find any filter is there's a more tab, and then you can search by those filters. Just type in owner's house flipper. That'll come up where it'll show you based on transaction history and us looking at property increase in value and things like that. That's where we can identify, okay, here are house flippers in a certain area, right? So you can build a list there. And then final one is number of owned properties. So you could say like, hey, if you've got a deal in this neighborhood, show me everyone else that owns at least 5 properties in this neighborhood. And maybe they want to own one more, right? And so you can go in there, build that list, and then the phone numbers and emails come with DealMachine, right? So you just pull that list and hey, you've got a whole cash buyers list to reach out to and say, hey, I've got a property in this area. Would you like, are you interested? And use it for that side of the transaction as well. Absolutely.
Cool. So you can buy it, sell it, everything right there, which is very cool. So then talk about with your personal properties that you're doing, the flips, the wholesales, because maybe it was Vince or so. I was talking with someone and they're like, Matt is like, no, we are going to implement profit first. And there's nothing like, there's no other way that we're going to manage this. Like every dollar is going to be accounted for. So I'm like, that's awesome. We got to have Matt come on and tell about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. And I mean, that's another thing, like with this community, I've been sitting learning as well from you guys, right, over the years. And so, I've heard you come on a couple times. I love Profit First. I think you got the book back. Here we go. Here's your book.
Nice.
Your book right there. So very, very much like a fan of the system and everything. And so every deal that we do, that's the first thing we do is we've got the profit bank account set up. We've got the owner's comp. We've got owner's tax, which I used to say just like tax account, I guess. We've got not as much I know you talked about like the OPM, like other people's money account
Yeah.
before, and that's going to be, I think, relevant down the road, but at the moment we haven't done that as much. We've done more of the active flips and things.
Yeah.
And then OpEx as well, Mayor. I say, like, our marketing budget we throw in there. And so immediately we're going in, divvying it up. I know you've shared that the table with like the taps table.
Yeah. The
before.
percentages.
Yes, the percentages. So we'll go and follow that of, okay, hey, split this up, make sure we pay ourselves, right? Like that's what we're in here to do and get, celebrate and get excited about, but also make sure we immediately, know what we're going to reinvest in the company and set aside for taxes. And then, just be efficient and not even have to think about it because we've got that system set up in place right away.
It's very cool. So then have you been able to, pre-question, how long have you been running Profit First with your fix and flip and wholesale active business now?
That was like literally from the start. That was our first deal we did. We said, hey, we're divvying it up like this way.
When was the first deal done? How long?
Completed, that was with Vince and I together. It was like early 2024.
Early 2024. Okay, so a year and a half ish.
Yeah, first deal together was like a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to ask, and there's no wrong answer, but today is, while we're recording this, July 1st. So it's a new quarter. I'm wondering, do you have profit in your profit account, and are you going to do anything cool with it, or are you saving for anything cool to do with your profit account?
So we have I'd say one thing we always really try to take time out for is, and we're both busy guys. Like, he's got 5 kids. I have 3 kids. So, setting aside time isn't the easiest thing to do necessarily, but every time we do a deal together, we really intentionally set aside time for my wife and I, and then him and his wife to get together and go celebrate. And
cool.
we get a meal together and
That's
say,
awesome.
intentionally say, hey, this is really cool what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Like, it's very family driven as well. Like, that's anything I make in the side business, it's really focused on, reinvesting in my family and the kids and their education. And that's kind of my why. And then same thing with Vince and his wife. Like, he's very much focused on reinvesting in their future as well. So it's very family driven. So that was one of the things that, made me say, hey, yeah, I could see myself going into business with this guy, and so we're very intentional, with, for example, with that profit account, of saying, hey, let's set aside a little bit to go celebrate together too. So it's easy with busy lives to just fly through that and not take a breath and celebrate. And so that's probably
that's awesome
favorite tradition together. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So then that's helped you. It sounds like it's helped you keep the money straight and to be able to build. Do you have any targets for when you are going to buy and hold then? Like, is there a certain dollar amount you want in the bank or reserves, or like, what are you looking for before you jump into the rental side?
Yeah, it's more, I'd say it's more a time investment thing. Like, it's something where it's like, man, I am very excited to get to that stage, but also I love, on the DealMachine front, anything I do on the side, I never want to distract there. So it's very much like, hey, let's make sure we're in a spot where we're really comfortable saying, okay, we're not going to, if we own this asset, we're not going to neglect it, in any way long term. So it's I think it's just be more intentional about planning out the time we reinvest into that.
That makes sense.
So it's something too, like, I know once we get into it, even before we did our first deal together, it felt like this big thing of like, oh man, we got to have this done and this done and this done, and then we can go do it, right? Like, it's really easy to put a million hoops in front of you. I know this is probably very similar, but it's also something too that, like, hey, if we're, say if we're going to team up with somebody who's going to invest with us, like, that I want to make sure we treat their money well as well too. So there's a little bit of added responsibility there too. So it's more like us really being intentional about planning that out than anything else. But going out there and doing those initial wholesales and flips has really gotten us comfortable with assessing deals, kind of underwriting and evaluating the deal, going on appointments, talking to sellers, making offers, like that whole process we wanted to get really good at first. And we definitely are at a stage where we're comfortable with that as well. So we're I'd say it's sooner than later we'll be jumping
I
on
was going to say, because it sounds like you're right there. It's more just the time thing of, okay, do we want to commit to this? Because it is a different exit strategy and almost like a completely different business because now you're holding it versus just selling it. So you got to manage it. And there's the whole, yeah, it's like you're keeping the thing. So it's like you got to, like you said, take care of it. And okay, cool. I just wondered, you did say something that perked my little antenna up. And you said you don't have the OPM account because you're fixing and flipping, but I did wonder, are you getting any private money or a hard money, or are you funding these all yourself currently, like with the cash that you have?
Yeah, so a lot of what we've set up here too, we actually team up. So this is kind of a cool little angle as well for people that, if they don't want to go fully into like go being all, managing flip themselves, right? We've really squarely focused on being the deal finders. And so we've actually teamed up with there's two general contractors that we've done some projects with now that we really like working with.
Yeah.
And they actually have some private money sources on their end as well. So a lot of times we'll go into the deal where we're finding it, negotiating it, actually, making the deal happen there. Then they'll come in to actually manage the flip and even fund it.
So they fund and flip and you find.
Exactly.
That's a pretty good partnership.
Yeah.
Without doing all that, that's very cool. So, and how did you find them? They were just in your local area or
a
referral?
One was in a networking group. That
it's a plug for a community right there.
I know. Yeah. Well, we did a networking group. So, and that was something that he's based in Pennsylvania. Great guy. And then the other one was actually Vince went to high school. Like it was a Vince personal connection.
Yeah.
That basically really the more that we've like talked about this and shared this with our network, the more naturally people have approached us and things too. So that one was more of a personal connection that came through us getting, more and more active. And then the other one, was through a networking group. So.
That's awesome. So there's been lots of good stuff that you brought up here. Obviously, DealMachine, like it's so much more than just a Driving for Dollars app. It's literally a direct to seller and direct to buyer could be as well too, where you're linking the buyer, the seller, getting anything that you need there, getting the properties in the door. I did like you hearing about your journey, and it's like, I'm going to practice what I preach here. I'm not going to just be a DealMachine user. I'm going to actually go out there and buy the properties and, like show the way too, which is very cool. I love that, especially that you're in DealMachine and that you're the head of that community and like you teach a lot. It is so cool to see that you're on that side and that you're doing the deals. I like that you're also not you bring a set of skills to the table in your own deals, but you don't have to bring every piece. Like through your network, you were able to get the funding and the flipping portion, which can sometimes be a heavy lift if you're doing all three things, finding, funding, and flipping. So I think that was a really good plug for community, but also finding the right people in your life, like who can fill the holes. What are you really good at? So knowing what you're really good at. So this was a really good episode. I appreciate your obviously your insight with everything there, and that you're using profit first. It sounds like it's giving you clarity. It's giving you it's also giving you that peace of mind, as you go and do the deals, you're celebrating. I love hearing that. It's always good to slow down, especially if there's 8 kids between the two of you.
Right.
So that's really good as well. But Matt, I wanted to make sure before we left here, how do they get in touch with DealMachine or with you? Or like, I want to make sure that if they want to take a next step from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we'll go through, and we just got our DealMachine.com website. Obviously, we have free trials on there and things. I'll try to set up, I don't know if you have a chance to link to it, but I'll try to set up a bonus for people on here too. So if they hear this episode, that they'll get something that they wouldn't just get going through our website. They'll get free postcards and callings. We have a dialer inside DealMachine as well for calling. So you can use that. We'll just give you a bunch of marketing credits. So you can just go try it out and see how the tool works and see if it's a good fit for you. If you're interested in finding deals that way. And then, me directly, I'm just matt@dealmachine.com. Always happy to help here as well. Give me a shout, especially if you're in St. Louis, always looking at the network locally. And that's probably the biggest takeaway I've had through my professional career, through real estate, all that. It's the people you surround yourself with, and really being able to come in there and then, find what you're great at, really doubling down on that, and then surrounding yourself with great people that can fill in the rest. Right. So,
yeah. And you've really shown the way with that, with what you're doing at DealMachine and then in your personal deals as well, too, and going through that process, which is awesome. So there's also an app, correct? Like if people go to the App Store, they could download DealMachine and see it there as well. So it's on the App Store. If you go to DealMachine.com, that's where could probably have more info. And if you wanted to look at it and research and all this stuff and everything that they're doing there, might be easier for you to look at it there. So that's where you could go. And then Matt at DealMachine.com if you just want to reach right out to Matt. And if you have any questions, he's an open book there. There's no gatekeeping, which is great. So he can actually answer anything that you have. I fully endorse them. They're doing a great job. I know their owner as well, too. We bump into each other at all these different masterminds and events. He's really leading the way, too, of buying the deals and really being a real estate investor. I see him commenting on posts, too. He's not some ivory tower CEO just wanting to go out. He's in the trenches helping people as well, too. So I really respect their company and what they're doing. So DealMachine.com. Also, if you're like Matt and you want to make sure you have the clarity in your finances, or if you're pulling your hair out now, what the heck is going on and what are they talking about, go to simplecfo.com. We can help get you straightened out and make sure that you implement profit first, get dashboards, making sure that you have the next steps to keeping more of what you're making if you're not keeping it already. So that's what we could do. Matt, thank you so much for coming on and being a great guest here today.
Yeah, David, really appreciate it, man. I'll always have a great time with you. So I'm excited to have you back on with our community as well.
This episode of the Profit First for REI podcast is over, but there are plenty more where that came from. Are you ready to learn how David and his team can help implement the Profit First system in your business? Schedule a discovery call at simplecfo.com right now. We'll see you next time on the Profit First for REI podcast with David Richter.